Hey guys, it's me, Liv. It's time for another episode of Salvage Sunday. So, I mentioned before, I decided to try to play with some pieces that I really wasn't happy with and see if I can salvage them for another project. So, you saw that I had done a card with the previous one. Now, this time, I am taking the other two pieces and going to complete a Memorydex card that is going to be mixed media and theme. Now the Memorydex base that you see here is actually a alcohol ink jelly plate gone wrong. The top, it was done with distress inks that just didn't come out the way that I thought it would. So then I went ahead and took out this new stamp that I got from Studio Light with the grunge stars, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and just use it to ink up on the underneath layer as well as the top layer. Now I really love the stars on this image, so I'm going to go ahead and bring those out, and then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on the Memorydex level as well, using a different part of the stamp throughout. Now because it's alcohol ink, do know that alcohol ink base really doesn't stamp, I believe, as well as paper, so it can actually smudge a little bit. Next, I'm going to move on to some white splattering I'm using, and it was just subtle because I wasn't trying to do anything crazy with all the splattering. And then I thought that same sentiment Eurostar would be just perfect in the middle of this Memorydex and use it to build up from there. Then I will take out the stencil and use some of my blue glitter paste. I think this is an old Martha Stewart one that I've had like forever, and I figured it's time to start using it more often. Once I have that all situated, then I will go ahead and fix a mistake that you'll see here. When I was doing some of the stars, this little one over here did not actually come out fully, and so it just left like this little ray, as well as the two top little stars in the lower level came out like blobs. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that around and smudge that out. Once I have that situated, I'm going to take a little bit of my distress crayon just to bring in some different colors here, brighten some different areas, just used for shading. I don't really use my color crayons for any type of coloring, more just some shading like you see me doing here, and I rub it in with my fingers. That's just how I do it. Let's dry this off a little bit so that none of this glimmer paste will come off while I'm still trying to work with the project. And as I was putting it together, I felt like it was still missing something, and then I finally remembered something that I usually forget about, which are these little clay pieces that I have. So these clay mold pieces that I usually try to go ahead and do ahead of time, but sometimes I do forget about them. So this, I believe, is from a primer mold that I have, and I went ahead and just used some of this cosmic blue metallic that I have. I'm forgetting the name of the company right now, so I think it's called like Metallic Luster or something like that. So I went ahead and did that, and I decided to actually smudge the leftover that was all over my lovely fingers, just to kind of unify it. And, you know, of course, it's mixed media, so you can grunge it up a little bit more. Now that I am figuring out exactly where I want my star to go, I am using what I call some gloss heavy gel. You really do want to use a good heavy gel for heavier pieces to make sure that it stays down. This one I used is Liquitex. There's plenty of great ones out there. And as I was placing it down and figuring exactly where I want it to be, some glue smudged out, and then I thought, this might be a good place for me to put some of these like little micro beads that I have. So I went ahead and put some on the bottom end next to the other star, and then in some of the crevices of the clay piece that I have, or the resin piece that I have there, to kind of balance it all out. I thought it added a little nice splash of color and more dimension here. Now, the last step is pretty much to go ahead and glue this down. And ta-da, my mixed media style Memorydex card, which is going out to somebody out there in Crafty Land who is having a challenge. I will announce it a little bit later. I hope you guys enjoyed my next Salvage Sunday Memorydex, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.